Welcome to Lisa's Forbidden Entries, where I read RPG horror stories and react to what should have never happened. Today's Forbidden Entry was given permission to be read by Reddit user Ton Coleman and has been named The Tale of Sir Elric, the paladin so horny he'd betray his kingdom for a squirrel girl. In my previous post, I mentioned a player who deserved a post of his own, and he does. But instead of talking about everything that player did, I think it's worth focusing on a single campaign, which he absolutely torpedoed through his sheer, desperate thirst. Our tale starts at the days of COVID and lockdowns. My group was playing 3 weekly sessions, but we still had a craving for more D&D, but couldn't possibly find another time slot to fit a session in. So instead, my friend goes,
"Hey, have you guys ever heard of PBP?
That is, play by post. Instead of scheduling sessions, you play via text throughout the day. While my friend wasn't really big on DMing, she was an amazing writer and great at character work. And without the limits of having to know rules on the fly and improvising a lot of stuff on the go, she thought it'd be fun to DM a PBP game. This would also introduce us to the genre. She came up with a pretty cool idea for a short-term campaign. After decades of war between the monster clans to the north and the kingdoms to the south, a stalemate led to a begrudging ceasefire. Our party would be the group protecting the diplomat, sent to negotiate permanent peace. To allow for plenty of roleplay even when not everyone was active, we each had a few NPCs in the party attached to us, making it a bit of an escort mission. And since combat wasn't real time, having a bunch of them along didn't really make it drag, as she'd just sit through 5 turns in one post and then it'd be the next PC's turn. It was kinda cool. Our group consisted of me, the diplomat. Initially, I wanted to play the diplomat's butler, but then my character was such an insufferable fop, me and DM decided that it would be funnier if he was an unqualified idiot who got the job because of his powerful father, and his attendant would be the woman actually qualified for the job. A badass half-orc who didn't get it because she wasn't born to the right parents, and was quite resentful of my guy. Of note, my guy was an incredibly sheltered elf, always terrified of vagabonds running off with his maidenhood, though he had no idea what a maidenhood actually was or why they'd want it. A few others. A cleric of a trickster deity who actually turned out to be its gateway into the world. It was kind of terrifying. Her NPC was huge slobbering dog that was also her mount, but she was played by a male player, which is incredibly relevant to this. Ranger and Warlock each with their own backstories and NPCs, but they aren't really important to the tale of Sir Elric, since both are guys. And Sir Elric himself, man of the hour. Sir Elric, on paper, was actually an amazing character, a legendary knight well past his prime, retired to farm life, but called in to one final mission due to his experience fighting the orcs and goblins of the north. He reluctantly took up a sword one last time to ensure peace. Amazing. His NPC companion was a dwarf squire, the son of a departed friend, who supposedly, to Sir Elric, was like his own flesh and blood. Remember this for later. Notably, Sir Elric's single defining trait was his loyalty to the crown. He was the king's most loyal knight, and his long years of service were why he was even allowed to retire. The king's most loyal knight. By the way, despite his clearly very deep backstory, it was never actually established what deity he was a paladin of. So, not that deep, I guess. Anyway, off on the road we go, and we engage in some light roleplay, and almost immediately, Sir Elric makes a beeline for my character's NPC companion, since she's female, obviously, and begins miladying her. It goes poorly. Sir Elric comes off as desperate and creepy, and the NPC isn't about romance anyway, so he relents, for now. I take this opportunity to have my PC be obnoxious and dumb, which is what his thing is. And immediately, he gets threatened by Elric. I obviously act scared and go hide behind the NPC guards. This proves to be a mistake, as one of the guards turns out to be female and has attractive character art. So that's another 5 posts of him miladying at her and being shut down. A pattern starts to emerge. Still, maybe that's his character's thing, being really bad outside of battle, but fierce on the battlefield. Suppose we'll find out soon. Introductions are finished, and soon enough, we are ambushed on the road by what seems like random bandits, but move with the purpose of assassins, and are able to distinguish us from the decoy trader caravans we traveled between. Very suspicious, very intriguing. Initiative is rolled. Here, the DM made a fatal mistake. She made one of the bandits female. As we fight these bandits trying to save ourselves, the NPCs mostly don't fight to not steal our thunder and are weaker than us anyway, to make sure it's not an army of DMPCs to solve all of our problems. Sir Elric's turn rolls around, and what does our brave, mighty paladin do? Obviously, runs up to the female bandit and uses his action to talk to her, whereupon he stresses upon her that a woman as beautiful as her should not be fighting here. She should join our group instead. So, Sir Elric, most loyal servant of the crown, offers to plant an assassin within our ranks, as she and her friends are trying to kill us. Amazing. Combat lasts for 5 rounds. The assassins are dead. Sir Elric, most loyal servant to the crown, is now upset at my character for unaliving the assassin sent for his head, because, well, we could get through to her. My character calls him out because, what the F? Why was she, specifically, worthy of mercy while the others were not? He explains that he saw something in her soul, and I had no right to extinguish that light. I call BS and point out she almost unalived his own squire. You know, the guy who's like a son to him. He does not give a single flipping F. How dare I unalive the love of his life? My character shrugs and walks away, and we move on. That female guard I mentioned before turns out to be quite popular among the party. She was portrayed as kind of dumb, a bit aggressive, but very kind. And a few of the guys. So obviously, Sir Elric redoubles his efforts to milady at her. Obviously, this does not go well. The guard saw him flirting with that assassin, as she herself was bleeding out, and thinks him trying to hit on her now is almost cruel. He apologizes and returns to milady at someone else for a bit. Probably just to tease him, Cleric's player, a man playing a female character, tries flirting with Sir Elric. He is immediately rejected. So instead, Cleric and the guard become BFFs so that he can run interference. The next few encounters go by without a hitch, as DM has learned her lesson and mostly avoided female enemies. Then drama ensues. My character figures out that it seems like we have a traitor among us. Someone is tipping assassins off about our location. He suspects the half-orc NPC. She's smart and resentful of him. He catches her sending hidden messages, which she claims she's been sending back to the capital. A really intense scene ensues, and they have a huge fight where MC tells her that he wants to ensure peace, and he knows he's really bad at the job they assigned him. He needs her. And if she's actually working against them, she should just kill him now, because he can't accomplish the mission without her. She storms off, clearly conflicted. Here, DM makes a fatal mistake. During the argument, worried for his life, my character used a message cantrip to call a guard. When the guard arrives, and seeing my character distraught by the potential betrayal, the guard consoles him. We talk it over with DM out of character, and decide that given my character's maidenhood gag, it might actually be a good moment of character growth for him to find a romantic partner. So after they had a heart-to-heart, that scene fades to black, and it's implied that my character is no longer confused about maidenhood. This has the very unfortunate effect of signaling to Sir Elric's player that romance was a possibility. So he immediately dashed into the forest to find the potential spy and flirt with her. Like not a moment of hesitation. 2 minutes after the fade to black post. He is promptly told to F off and threatened with violence, which obviously to him reads as, okay, maybe later. Sure. That night, during Warlock's watch, he notices a squirrel attempting to raid our supplies. Warlock observed and noticed there was something unusual about the squirrel, so he eldritch blasted it, and it turned out to be an archdruid. An archdruid with a female token art, unfortunately. So as our party stirs awake, the druid sets everything we have on fire. She is much higher level than us. It's a tough fight. We're really going to have to pull together too. Sir Elric uses his turn to run up to her and begin explaining why someone as beautiful as her should not be tempted by evil and should join us. Druid's like,
WCF, you mean evil? I stole some bread and you assholes tried to kill me.
but he is relentless. He isn't armored since he was asleep, but his HP keeps him up for 3 rounds, as the rest of us are trying to pull our dying NPCs out of the wreckage. Notably, it's my character dragging his squire out of the flames. You know, that squire that's just like a son to him? Son of his dead best friend? Yeah, no, F that squire, time to flirt. He actually offered to just run away with her. The crown's most loyal servant, Knight of His Highness, the King. Eventually, it's Warlock who bows down and apologizes profusely, realizing our terrible tactics left us at a no-win situation. And he convinces the druid to spare us, because he, unlike Sir Elric, veteran of many wars, understands that enemies are people who can sometimes be reasoned with, based on their own sensibilities, and not a blank slate to be miladied at, until one romance pops out. Our party lost most of their supplies, but we survived the night. We head into the nearest town to resupply. Here we rest, but are attacked at night by hobgoblins. One of the hobgoblins seems a bit familiar and acts like she knows us. Oh shit, it's my NPC. She's not an orc at all. She killed the original diplomat and was sent to sabotage the talks because of some lore stuff. But the friendship of Cleric and my character's earnest desire for peace and self-improvement did make her hesitate. Eventually, we fight off the orcs, and she is won over back to our side by Cleric talking her down. You know that thing Sir Elric kept trying to do? By the way, are you wondering what Sir Elric did in this fight? Obviously ran up to the female hobgoblin and started proclaiming how beautiful she was, not realizing who she was until it was stated outright. She promptly got himself knocked out. The crown's most loyal servant, ladies and gentlemen. With the battle done, we decided to go to sleep and talk things out with the traitorous NPC in the morning. A few things happened then, but they're not relevant enough to discuss at length. 1. My character poached the squire away from Elric. Elric was like, "Why would you leave?" And my character was like, "Maybe it has to do with you leaving him to burn to death, but it's just a guess." 2. Elric tried to drag my character, at this point clearly romantically involved with that guard NPC, to a brothel, since he clearly understands very little bit about sex. This seems to have been an actual attempt at subterfuge, trying to break them up, so at least he gets credit for that. 3. Elric still tried flirting with the spy, before even hearing her story or anything, just bursting as soon as she sits down. It was when we left town that Elric finally outdid himself. During that night's campfire talk, he proceeded to pursue the spy NPC so persistently and so off-puttingly, not deterred by any attempts to dissuade him, that the DM reached out of character and told us, "Look guys, I just can't deal with this guy anymore. I'm done." And he was booted. He was asked to leave all our other games soon after due to similar behavior, which I might talk about at another post. In character, Elric was retconned to have died in the Goblin Raid. Some points of clarification as I see these things coming up. 1. We kept talking to DM out of character. I felt guilty that our decision to do a romance with my PC might have contributed to this. She made it clear that she thought the angle worked for the character and didn't want to avoid it because of him. 2. We talked about confronting him and or booting him sooner. She was not a confrontational person and said she wished to handle it herself and that she will act if it got too bad. We made sure she knew we had her back regardless. 3. The reason Elric's player lasted as long as he had was that he was involved with the group for a long time, and booting him from one game meant awkwardness in others, so it took some time for all DMs to get on the same page. 4. To his credit, As a person, he wasn't aggressive or violent. He took up very little spotlight during session and was very good as coming across as harmless. 5. The person taking on the brunt of his behavior was a different player who was not part of that PBP, and she stated over a long period that she did not wish for him to be booted, which is why he was allowed to stick around. And thus came to a close the tale of Sir Elric, a man whose backstory of surviving many a battlefield can only be explained by him not running into a single female enemy up until that point. It is likely making some succubus in hell incredibly uncomfortable as we speak. So there it was, Sir Elric. There was a lot of issues with this. He could not take no for an answer, and he really needed to, because it would be really annoying to me playing a D&D game where half of the time the one player is literally bowing down to another female and just always ruining combat encounters because he wants to boing so badly. It would just be really frustrating, and I'm happy that he ended up getting booted because I think he deserved it. People just need to learn that romance isn't going to be part of every single thing, and it generally should be eased into. You know, not like immediate like he wanted it to be. He wanted to literally make every single woman his girlfriend. Like, I wouldn't even be surprised if he wanted a harem. Okay, so now that I finished the story, I did want to come out and say the reason why I've been gone for so long. It's been 3 years, which, if I'm being honest, has been like half of the time I haven't been playing D&D. I quit YouTube when I got pregnant with my first son. I had really bad nausea and vomiting, and I lost up to 10 pounds from the first trimester alone. And then I dealt with a semi-difficult pregnancy. My pregnancy ended with an emergency C-section to a healthy baby boy. The issue was soon after I ended up back in the hospital with a spinal headache and a bad case of Bell's palsy, which I still have to this day. Around 5 months after, I ended up back in the hospital and I had to get my gallbladder removed. And a few months later, in December, my baby boy passed away. It was really hard to deal with, and so we stopped playing D&D until just recently. A few months in, like around March or April, I ended up pregnant again, and this pregnancy was really rough. I was in pain a lot, struggling. I did give birth to a healthy baby boy in December, and he's currently 6.5 months old. Actually, yep, 6.5 months old, and he is the joy of my life. But we just started playing D&D again, and I thought I should revive my channel and say hi to you all again. But that will end this video. I hope you all had a good time reading a forbidden entry with me today. If you would like to read another, please subscribe. If you would like to add your own take to our forbidden entries, please give a comment and start some discussions. I hope you all have a fantastical week, and I will see you soon.